Church family. I hope that as you're watching this video today, that you and your family are doing well. We just want to take a few minutes and let you know about the next phase of our reopening for our campus. We, as you know, phase one began on Father's Day, and we re-entered our worship facility with an 8:30 and a 10:30 service, and things have been going great. In fact, this past weekend we went back to one worship service, and God's just been good to us by His grace. We've been safe and not had any outbreaks here at Taylor Road, and we just want to continue to pray for that, because in no way should any of us let our guard down. The threat of COVID is still real, and I think that the moment we become lax is the moment that we open ourselves up to vulnerability. And so over the course of these last several months, I think it's been about 6 months, 5-6 months now, every decision that we have made as a staff and as leadership has come from a place of love for one another, love for our community, and really that's how we've operated. That's how we've always operated as a church. We've always operated out of love, but particularly so now with the threat of COVID, and how we re-enter is really just driven by that question of how can we best love one another. And so one of the ways that we have approached this, because we don't want to just continue to do things just primarily virtually or online. We wanted to be able to open up, and so we've asked ourselves, how can we do this slowly and how can we do this safely? And so that being said, your ministry leadership here at Taylor Road, along with the deacons, we've spent a lot of considerable time in prayer and in discussion about what phase two of reopening our campus might look like. And so that being said, today we would like to announce that on September the 13th, we will resume life groups, on-campus small groups for our church with, and this is going to be something that we come back around to in just a moment, limited childcare. Now, let me explain what I'm talking about here, because obviously things have changed, and some things that used to work won't work right now, and they're not going to look the same. Things are just obviously looking different. So first of all, not all of our Sunday morning teachers and leaders are comfortable coming back to campus, nor should they be. Some of them are older, some of them have family members that have a compromised immune system, some of them have compromised immune systems. And so it's not just our church leaders, though, or our small group leaders. Many of our church members, maybe somebody watching this, don't feel comfortable coming back on campus right now. And that's a big reason why we're still offering our outdoor worship service. So one of the most common questions that I've gotten, and I know our staff has gotten, is when can we start Sunday school and home groups again? Well, as we move forward, the answer to that question is different than what it would have been at the beginning of 2020. In fact, everything now is different than what it was at the beginning of 2020. I've learned so much over the last several months, but two things that God has really taught me and reminded me of is, first, simplicity is king. Keep it simple, stupid, right? Simplicity is king. And secondly, the thing that God's really reminded me of and taught me is that small groups are the lifeblood of the church.
So now let me explain what this means. First, we want everyone at Taylor Road to be involved in a small group. Again, relationships matter most, and small groups are the best place for you to grow, to practice ministry, and to be ministered to. The church is all about relationships and small groups and where these relationships are formed. We want every member of Taylor Road to be plugged into a small group. So all of our life groups will have one model in identity and purpose, but will be multifaceted in their operation. For example, some of our life groups will meet at 9 a.m. on Sunday mornings. Some of our life groups will be meeting virtually, and some of our life groups will meet off campus in homes. So some life groups will continue their Bible study and what they've been doing. Some will use sermon discussion guides. Some might choose to go through a book of the Bible, and some may just be topical and pick certain topics that they may go through with their particular group. So what you will hear from us as a staff, and what you're going to see in print in regards to what we used to call Sunday school and what we used to call home groups will actually now be called life groups.
So a couple of questions that we've already been asked and that I want to address. First of all, you would say, well, I liked my home group, I liked being a part of a home group, and I liked Sunday school. So can I still be in two groups? Well, the answer to that is very simple. You can be in as many life groups as you want to, but that's not necessarily healthy. Ideally, we want every member, just as Seth said a second ago, our heart and our desire is that every member of our church be plugged into at least one group. Plugging into and forming relationships, ministering to and ministering alongside one group. Another question that we've had is, I like the Sunday morning group that I've been in for maybe years. Can I just stay there? Well, the answer to that question is absolutely. If that's your small group, then stay plugged in. However, if you feel led to change a small group to get to know new people, then sign up for a new life group under a new leader. Listen, I promise, and we met the other night with all of our life group leaders who used to teach Sunday morning groups or home groups or whatever. They're all life group leaders now. I've met with them. We've talked with them. They all have pretty tough skin, okay? Then they're not going to get their feelings hurt if you leave the group that you've been in for 20 years and go to a new one. In fact, they have a heart that is like our heart. We want to foster and encourage growth in the building of new relationships. And to kind of echo what Seth said just a few minutes ago, we've got these multifaceted looks to this one model of life groups, because some of you only feel comfortable maybe in a small group, maybe in somebody's home or just virtually, or maybe you're comfortable coming back here on campus. We want to offer life groups for everybody, whatever your situation is.
So you may be thinking and asking yourself, what do you do now? What do you do from here? Well, like we said earlier, we're dealing with two separate realities. We have some previously on-campus small group leaders who are just not comfortable returning at this point, and we've got several members who are not comfortable returning. So we want to make life groups open and accessible to everyone in whatever way that they're most comfortable. This evening, you're going to receive an email that will provide you with a link to a page that will list all of our life groups. We're going to have virtual life groups listed. We're going to have on-campus life groups and off-campus life groups listed as well. You will see the leader's name, what their study is on, when and where they meet, and you will be able to sign up as well. We're asking everyone to sign up, especially for our on and off-campus groups. We are still practicing social distancing and will need to accommodate for each class based on its size. We'll also need to cap our life group sizes, as we are still taking very seriously the need for social distancing.
That's right. And so, again, you're going to have a list on our website of all the life groups, the topics, where they're meeting, and we want you to get plugged in however and wherever you're most comfortable and what works best for your family. So just a few minutes ago, I mentioned that we would start returning to children's ministry on a limited basis. We've already begun to set our feet in the water a little bit with that through VBS. And here to talk about that for just a second is our children's ministry director, Stephanie. Now, before she shares a little bit about the protocol that we're going to go through, during the 9 o'clock or 9:15 life group hour on campus, our children's life groups, what we used to call children's Sunday school, we're going to call them children's life groups. Our children's life groups will be resuming as well at 9 o'clock on Sunday morning, September the 13th. And we also want you to know that just because we're trying to take as much careful safety protocol as possible, child care for the worship service hour will just be infants through 4-year-olds. Kindergarten through 5th graders will be in here in the worship center with their parents. So Stephanie, if you would, just take a second and just explain to parents how that's going to work. If they come at 9 o'clock to bring their child to a life group, what kind of steps are they going to have to go through?
Okay. All right. Well, so just remember, we're doing all of these things to ensure your children's safety and the safety of the workers and the volunteers. So once you come, if you have a preschooler, you can still come to the main preschool door on the outside, on the back side of the church. You will come there. There will be some people waiting for you outside, right in front of the doors. We're going to take temperatures, and we'll go through and ask the questions. If you've been to a doctor's appointment or any kind of other appointment, you've probably been asked some of these questions. If you've been to VBS, it'll be those same questions. So we'll ask those questions. Once you've went through all of that, then you'll come into the front, and at the main preschool desk, we're going to have online check-in now. And so we're asking that just one parent comes in with the child, no siblings, only one parent. We're just really trying to cut down on the traffic that's coming through the preschool hall. That's just to ensure safety for everyone. So one parent will walk in, check their child in at the desk, and then walk their child to the room. We are going to let the one parent walk down the hall to the room. You'll need to bring their stuff in a Ziploc bag, whether it's diapers, pull-ups, change of clothes, and a sippy cup, whatever it is that they may need, even snacks. For right now, we will not be giving snacks out during Sunday school or extended session, but so if you'll just bring a snack if they need that, we'll make sure that they get it. And we'll leave their bag out in the hallway and then get the things as we need them. So that's kind of how preschool will work. Of course, we'll make sure that we're going to try to keep the classes to no more than 6 in a room. I think that is very doable as just far as looking at the role and people being comfortable to come back. So there shouldn't be any more than 6 in a room. Teachers will be wearing masks. Children in preschool are not required to wear masks. We're going to ask if you're kindergarten and above that they wear a mask at church, but not below. So that's preschool. Now, when you get over to children's, we are going to ask that one parent brings your children. If you have a child in kindergarten through 5th grade and they're coming to life group at 9:15, you will need to walk your child to the children's hall. We will have someone also checking temperatures and asking questions at the beginning of that hallway too. We're going to ask that you do not come in the glass door at the back, but that you come to the inside door, what we're going to call the front, up by the resource room and up by the library. So one parent will come in, we'll check temperatures, we'll ask questions, and then then they can walk to their room. You don't have to walk them to their room, but we will need you for the question part. Again, in children, we will keep this classroom small. I know that we have a larger group going into 5th grade this year, and so we're going to look at how we can keep them safe and keep Mr. Jerry and Miss Vicky safe. But so we will definitely be working on that, and so just to ease your mind on that, because I know there's probably about 12 to 14 5th graders. So we will make sure that they are safe. But right now, that is kind of the direction we're taking with preschool and children. If you have any questions, you can email me at stephanie@taylorroad.org. Also, because this is it's not kind of new, it is new as far as there will not be children's worship right now. We'll kind of reassess maybe in January and see where we're at. But for right now, we'll have kindergarten and above in the sanctuary. And so, because that is new to us, and I know that as parents we can find it a little overwhelming to keep them occupied and on track, and during the sermon and service in general, there's a book called Parenting in the Pew, and it's actually a very good book. And it's not just about us teaching our children to be quiet and to be still, but it's teaching them how to worship. And so Josh and I are going to, if people are interested, I would love for y'all to join us. We were going to do a virtual book study on parenting in the pew, just because we're all in this together. And I've heard that a lot lately, but it's true. We are doing this together. And so I will still do activity bags as far as there will be stuff that applies to the worship service. But also thought it would be really good for us, since we're going to be doing this a little bit more long term, to just start training our children how to worship, not how to sit still in church, but how to worship. So if you're interested in this, you can also email me, and I'll put a thing on our Facebook page as well that you could comment on to let me know if you're interested. All right.
Well, that's awesome. Thank you, Stephanie. And I think that's a great resource. That's Parenting in the Pew. And who's that by? Ruth Bell. Oh no, Robbie Castleman. I'm sorry, Ruth Graham wrote the foreword. So, but if you're interested in doing that virtual book club with Stephanie and Josh, email her, let her know. Parents, let me just say, as a parent with 3 kids in the service, yeah, they miss kids worship. They do. They've told me that, but they miss being around other kids and being with their church family even more. And so this is just a great opportunity, like she said, to teach them. We're going to be doing baptism this week. So it's a great opportunity for you to share the gospel with your kids and teach them the importance of baptism. But let me just say, as the pastor and as a dad, I feel like I've got credibility in those 2 areas there. You may say, well, my kindergartner, my first grader, they're just kind of rambunctious and all that. I don't want them to make a big distraction in church. Don't let that keep you from here. Let me tell you something. I've said this from the very first Sunday I was here at Taylor Road. The moment that we find children a distraction in worship is the day that we can board the doors up at this place. Because listen, children are a blessing. We are a family, and yeah, we want to minister to them on their level, but we just can't right now in certain areas and certain ways. And so, listen, if your kid talks during the service, join the club. I've got one that can't stop running his mouth during church. Okay, so it's okay. It's fine. Don't worry about it. We are one big family. And after like 5 months of not being all together in worship, let's just be real, folks. We need to be focusing on things that really matter, things that are really important. And my prayer has been that we wouldn't take things for granted anymore, and that maybe we wouldn't major on the minor things and not be so concerned with the things that we used to let bother us. Folks, we're just blessed. And we're not lucky, we're blessed, and we're fortunate. And God has allowed us to come back. And I hope you've missed corporate worship as much as I have. And my prayer is that we just enjoy being together in God's presence, singing together, sharing the word together, and just being a family. You know, that's one thing that I've said for a while now about Taylor Road. It's a large, small church. In other words, this is like the old country churches I grew up in, where my kids just run around and they love the people here. And we're just a family-friendly church, and that's what we're all about. So, to recap all this, folks, we want every member of our church to be plugged into a life group. That's what Seth said a minute ago. That's what you're going to hear us call it. We're not going to hear us use the word Sunday school or home group. You're going to hear us call them life groups, okay? So we want everybody in a life group. And if Sunday morning at 9:15 is something you're comfortable with, sign up for one of those life groups online. If an off-campus, in-home, even smaller, more intimate group is what you're comfortable with, sign up for that life group. Or if you want to remain virtual, or maybe you say, I've not been a part of one, I'd like to get into one of those, we're going to provide that information as well. We want everybody in a life group, and we want to grow going forward. Church family, we love you as always. If you need anything, holler at us and let us know.